Okay, now we're going to go on to something new. What we've been doing before is diagramming all the parts that we've learned. Now we're going to learn about gerunds and gerund phrases. So a gerund, it looks like a verb, like climbing, ends in ing, like your progressive form, present participle, or the progressive, like walking, ends in ing, but it functions as a noun. So climbing is fun. Okay, so climbing is the subject, but it's also a gerund because it is a verbal, looks like a verb, but does not function as a verb. So quick review on a gerund. A gerund, if you'll look here at this page, we have a gerund is a verb form or verbal used as a noun. Like nouns, gerunds can be used as subjects, direct objects, predicate nominatives, objects of prepositions, and a positive. Gerunds end in ing. All right, here's one as a subject. Skiing is a great sport. Predicate nominative. Luke's hobby is hunting. Notice anytime there's an apostrophe S, what is its function? It is modifying something, modifying a noun. Part of speech that modifies a noun is what? Not adverb, not preposition, adjective, yes. Okay, Kyle enjoys surfing. Enjoys what? It's an action verb, so surfing is a direct object. Jennifer won first place. In writing, in is a preposition, writing is its object. And then in a positive, this is one of those one word appositives. Kendra's passion, comma, sailing, comma, causes her to spend many hours at the ocean. A gerund phrase. So those are gerunds, one word, functioning as one of these things that we've learned that nouns can do. Now we're going to look at a gerund phrase. So a gerund phrase has more than one word, right? Gerund phrase consists of a gerund plus any complements or modifiers. Let's see some example. Playing soccer for recreation is. This whole phrase is functioning as a subject. The simple gerund would be playing, but it's kind of like the predicate when you have the whole complete predicate, or you just have the simple predicate, which is another word for the main verb. So gerunds work the same way. And this is how sometimes when you start to diagram, you can get a whole page filled up with this huge house, looks like a rocket and things shooting off on the side. But I love that this is going piece by piece, so you can look at all the different layers. Okay, so observe the following things in the examples below. Gerunds can have complements, just as verbs can. Interesting. Gerunds can be modified by single adverbs or prepositional phrases. Modified by usually means it's functioning as an adverb or an adjective. Gerunds, the entire gerund phrase functions as a noun, which is functioning sometimes as a part of speech or a specific job that a part of speech has, like nouns have subjects, direct object, predicate nouns, objects of prepositions, or positives, also direct address. So let's see these. Playing soccer for recreation is good exercise. The problem is what? Meeting the deadline. That whole phrase is a predicate nominative. We enjoyed what? Watching the what? The play. It's a whole phrase, uses a gerund, playing, meeting, watching. We can protect our eyes by giving them proper rest. Notice the preposition by, its object is a whole stream of words. Persistence and dedication, compound subject, were required, verb phrase, action verb with a helper. For reaching the goal, that would be in prepositional phrase in parentheses. And then the appositive, doing well in Spanish class. Our goal. What's our goal? To do well. So that's how that works. Okay, so now we don't have to diagram these yet. Thankfully, they're coming and they're kind of big. Now we're going to see if we can look at the phrases and the gerunds and what part of speech that they're functioning as. So let's look at this as an example. Riding horses was a common mode of transportation. Okay, we have 3 sets of instructions, so make sure you do all 3. Number 1, underline each gerund. Simple enough. We see riding, they underlined it. Number 2, place parentheses around gerund phrases. the whole phrase is riding horses. And number 3, identify the use of each phrase as a subject, predicate nominative, direct object, object preposition, or a positive. So the first one, riding was. Now notice the word horses there. You might be tempted to underline horses as the subject, but horses was a mode. It needs to be more clear than that. So riding is functioning as a noun. Riding is actually the subject in this place, in this example. Okay, number 1. The police are responsible for catching criminals. Now, number 1, I need to underline each gerund. So I'm looking for things that end in ing and are not the main verb. Police are responsible for catching. So I'm going to underline that. That's my gerund. Now I'm going to look for a gerund phrase. For catching what? Catching criminals. Okay, police are responsible. Now I'm going to identify the use of this. And since it's right before it is the word for, for is going to be what part of speech? Preposition. Yes. For what? For catching criminals. So that whole gerund phrase is functioning as, it's part of a preposition, it's going to be the object of the preposition. It's functioning as a noun, which functions as the object of the prepositional phrase. So this one's a little different, the instructions, because I usually tell you to put prepositional phrases in parentheses. If you still want to follow that guideline, because I really think it is helpful to see, you could use parentheses in brackets, just like when doing algebra, when something tells you to put parentheses and you need more symbols of inclusion, you could say catching criminals, and this is prepositional phrase. This is a gerund phrase, but it's also for catching criminals, and I can put this in brackets, and that'll help me to see. This is simply the preposition, and this is the OP, object of preposition. Okay, so there's not that many on this page, number 6. So go ahead and complete those. And on the next page, continue to 20 of these. So lots of practice, because this one is a bit tricky. And then for exercise B, it says write original sentences containing gerunds or gerund phrases. I would like you to do 2. Do one that has a gerund. Do one that has a gerund phrase. So you could use skiing, playing, jumping, walking, quickly, jumping high. You could use words like that for the phrase. So just to give you some ideas. So again, complete all of exercise A and 2 from exercise B.